Welcome back. If you're here today again, it means that you are so passionate about privacy law as I am. And I am really happy to see you here again. And today, this is the second video in my new privacy playlist that is dedicated to privacy reviews of different websites, mobile apps, and web resources. If you want to see your video review here and privacy audit of your website as you see this one, you can always comment in this video below and make sure that I'll see your comment. So guys, today we have a new website. This one dedicated for some kind of inspiring apps. I actually do not know the details about this website yet, but this is our task today to figure out what does it have and which privacy fails it has. And let's begin with like a short overview of the main points we will go through today. First of all, we will browse this website and we will try to understand the scope of personal data which this website collects. We will also try to figure out for which purposes actually the company collects this data. And we will also analyze the privacy policy of this company, of this website, if it has, because like at this stage, I do not know exactly, right? So we will check it as well. And we will analyze all aspects that usually like regular privacy policy shall have and all missing points that it might have. And for sure, I will suggest the best options, which you need to do, how you can like implement it in your practice. I guess that every business owner, every website owner will find out something useful for him or for her, because sometimes when you see these reviews, you might see that there is some special or some similar moments that your website may have. So I'm sure that it will be useful and helpful for every website owner. So let's begin with this website. First of all, I will analyze the structure of this website. I will analyze the menu. I will try to understand from what part it consists, and then we will move step by step. So let's make a short overview and I will browse it really quickly for now. Okay, I guess this is like the first page, like the first page of this website. I see the button for partner with us. But right now, we do not click on anything, we'll just try to understand the whole structure. And here we see the second page and another button. Okay, we will also try to figure out later. And now, again, a short history about the company, I see. Yeah, okay, this is like the company claiming that they are 17 years in business. It means that the website, maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe the website is really not young, yeah, let's say. And again, expertise, so about more information about the company and about their expertise. And here we see clients. Okay, so the description of their clients, some trademarks we see, and some logos of this company, and another button, and we'll click this later. Okay, and here we see press room, yep, another button, and also some transactions. Yeah, I guess that's like description of some case study, some case overview. We will also switch it later. Happy people, about inspiring apps, another description of the services of the company, I suppose. Explore our latest insights. Yeah, this is like blog of the company. It's also a usual thing. We will explore which features it have. Maybe sometimes such kind of sections, they do contain like integrated comments for users. So we will also stop at this point a bit later. And another point to see, get the free book. Okay, this is really interesting because I'm sure that when we'll click on this button, we will see the form, the website form which collects some pieces of data. So we will also explore this a bit later. And sign in for email newsletter. Also pretty general and natural thing for most of the websites. And the footer of the website, and as usual, we see here the link to the privacy policy, which we'll explore at the last stage. And the main reason why we do this in this order, just because first of all, I need to analyze the scope of personal data which company or the websites collects, and only then I can try to figure out how accurate privacy policy describes all these practices and whether the practices that we explore today, whether they correlate with the privacy policy, which we'll explore later. So I suppose and I propose you to begin with the first page of this website. So I will just scroll to the first page right here, and let's try to explore the first page. Partner with us. What do we see right here? We see the first website form. As I understand, the company proposed user, or actually website visitors in this case, because if you enter the website for the first time, you might not be the user at this stage. So the company proposed you to fill out the form. And as we can see, this form has pretty a lot of personal data containing. So first of all, this is first name. We also see the last name, job title, company name, phone number, email, and message. And all these fields are compulsory, so you cannot omit them. Absolutely all of them are important for company, and they do collect all of them. If we speak about general personal data, for sure we refer their first name, last name, email address, and phone numbers. Be aware that, for example, when we speak about content of the message, because we see this a separate field dedicated to the content which users are supposed to put here. So they can put some kind of personal information, we are not sure, because you cannot control what type of information a website user will put here. That's why we need to understand that some type of personal data might contain this form as well. And this is what we'll check in privacy policy later. Okay, this is like the first form, and I will leave it right here because I will leave this page open in order to check this information later when we will refer back to privacy policy. And now let's move to the second page. Second page, we have the button impact, and when we open here we can see nothing special from privacy practices, because right now we explore exclusively privacy practices. It means that we are searching for some pieces of personal information that the website might collect. But here I see only the description of case, over the boost bottom lines, another description about different case studies, where the growth success. Okay, as far as I understand, all these blocks of text, blocks of information, they're dedicated to description of cases of the company. We can check it for short, but I'm sure that we'll not find anything special here in terms of privacy practices. Yeah, it's actually, as you might see, that's a description of the case, but in more details. And another description about the company, about its history. Yeah, okay, guys, I understood. Cool, yeah. As I supposed, yeah, this information is not relevant in terms of privacy practices, so we can close it for now and switch back to this first page. And now we will explore the section expertise. Let's see what we have here. This is description of the expertise of the company, and here we see again the description of the company itself, that they have built more than 200 mobile apps, okay, and their description about their direction mobile app development and description about web app development, okay, design insights. So this is like short descriptions of the main fields of expertise of the company, and you can see and you can browse it and analyze what company actually does. But what is interesting here from our perspective is the buttons that I will show you right now. You can see these two buttons, work with us and view our work. I suppose that the button work with us also will forward us to some kind of website form which also collects some types of data, of personal data. So let's check. Yeah, you may say. And this is, again, this is the same form. Yep, contact inspiring apps, but we saw it earlier today. Yeah, this is the form. It's the same, exactly the same form. So we will close this for now because it's not relevant. It means that we're sure about this. Okay. So let's close this tab for now and move back. Here we see again, this was the description of 4 different clients and their brands. Let's check just to be confident that there is nothing special. Yeah, okay. Again, actually this short portfolio, yeah, of all apps that company developed, I suppose so it's not relevant for us. Award-winning app design, press room. This might be interesting, so let's check this. Press releases, recognition, awards, and other news. Okay, cool. I see. This is just a block of different news about the company and maybe about their brands or their clients with whom the company worked. But I don't see any pieces of personal data or forms for the collection. So let's check whether there is nothing special. Okay, so we'll also close this. We can close this. Cool. What's next? In here a case study. I guess there is some kind of special project on which the company might work or worked. The only information that I see here is that there are the links to third-party platforms. In this case, this is links to download the app, which we see here, this App Store and Google Play. It means, in terms of privacy perspective, it means that the company posts some external links to third-party platforms, and you will need to be aware of this because it's important to mention this practice in your privacy policy as well. You'll need to mention that you are not responsible for collection practices of external third-party resources. So I will also leave this tab open right here, not to forget to check this at the end. We will explore privacy policy. Let's switch back. Happy people makes great products. About inspiring apps. I suppose there is the same information about different products of the company, but let's check. Yeah. Okay, our team, again, history and team, description about the team. Okay, we see embedded video from YouTube. It means that there are some cookies placed by YouTube. About this we'll speak later today as well. Get in touch. Maybe it's actually a new form, but let's check. No, the same. As you may see, this is the third form which we are opening today, and it is the same. So it is forwarded to the same contact form, and nothing changed at this moment. It's the same scope of data I collected, so we're also closing this. Okay, and here we see the blog, but it was, yeah, okay, it was the description, and we are returning back. Here we also see the blog about which I was telling you earlier. Let's check whether there is embedded comments from users. For example, just open the last one, I would say, yeah. Intelligence, resources, embedded video from YouTube. I see that's like the embedded video from the channel that the company does have. So they have YouTube channel, and that's why they place a YouTube link on their websites, right? And there's description, there's a text of the blog of this. Okay, and no. As you may see, there are no places for leaving some comments from users. That's why we also can omit this page and just let's move back. So we're like, yeah, we move forward. It's not relevant for us. And what do we have here? Okay, we also see some new blocks of some some other menus, as you might see here. So let's check them as well, because I'm not sure that we have explored all of them. So let's try to check this consulting section. Yep, we haven't been here. So what I see right now is that there is an option to book a free consultation. As usual, such kind of forms, they will collect some types of information for sure. So let's check. Yep, I see, and this is the same. Okay, this is the same form, and we see it for the first time, I guess, if I'm correct, but nothing changed. Yeah, so we see the same types of data, so we'll just keep it in mind, and I leave only one tab open at this stage. So let's see again what we here have from the next tab, impact. Okay, nothing special at this stage. Inspiration, description again. Your case study again, the same. Another description. And yeah, so we can close this for now. Okay, let's open MV1 and check this. This is something new. I haven't remembered this page, so I will check it as well. Description about the mission of the company and some standards. Okay, and about the team. Again, yeah, we saw this blog earlier today. This case study. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is something new, but actually this is another form, but it contains the same types of personal data. So the same first name, last name, job title, company name, phone number, email address. And as we have already mentioned, that the message might also contain personal data, so we keep in mind this, and we'll try to figure it out whether all these types of information is defined within the privacy policy later today. Let's switch back. And okay, I guess I will close this tab as well, because the types of information the company collects are the same. So the only point I want to stop just for a while here is to underline like the purposes for which the company might collect this data, because it's also important not only to highlight the types of personal data the company collects, but also the purposes for which it does this, because the company needs to clearly define all scope of purposes, like for which aims the company does this, and it shall be clearly stated within the privacy policy. And as we might see here, these forms usually serves for the main purpose actually for collecting this data is to get in contact with the company, and usually users might have some questions, some comments, inquiries about the practices of the company, or they might have some questions about the products or the services, and company just places through different website pages different forms, so users could easily contact company in any moment of the time. So this is like the main purpose, and it should be clearly stated within the privacy policy. So let's move back and explore other options. We also see here ebook, and we also see careers. I will not switch to the press room because although we have already done this, so as of now we have only 2 pages left. This is ebook careers, and we will do this right now, and after this we will go back to privacy policy and explore privacy policy in more detail. So first, here we have the description of idea frame about apps and brand apps. This is some kind of ebook that company proposed for users, as I understand, and you may see some reviews from users, actually from different reviews about the company, about its product. Here a practical pro description about this book, I suppose. What's next? And the offer to download the book of the company. This is a new form, as you may see, and the company offers you to download their book in exchange of sharing your first name and your email address. For sure, this purpose shall be clearly stated as well. the issue I want to highlight at this stage, it's important to understand that when your users, when your website visitors share some types of personal information with you, it's highly desirable to inform them about your privacy practices. And the way you can do this is by sharing or by informing them about your practices through privacy policy, right? And when they share your personal data with you, the best way to do is to make them acknowledge about your privacy policy, about the privacy practices it contains. So the best way to do it is to put a small checkbox like below this form and to offer your users to review your privacy policy before sharing this data. It would be a really great option because when your users share your data, they are not aware about how you will use them, with whom you will share them, and these practices just stay like on the dark side. They cannot do this without actively exploring the site by themselves. So this is the good practice and I really suggest doing this. But not a problem at this stage. We will check whether the company has this information embedded in their privacy policy as well, and then we will try to make some suggestions, or if everything is fine, then the company does good. I will also leave this tab open at this stage because we'll need to check this information later. And the last but not the least tab which we are exploring today is the part dedicated to hunting. Okay, this is the offer from the company to join their team. So it means that the company also places some job offers here, as I believe. It's a description again about the company, our passion, our talent, our values, okay. The description about the culture of the company and its employees. Another embedded video from YouTube. Values to work, the values of the company, the shared values company share within the company. Why work with that? Okay, so the description, another description. And view open listings. Okay, let's view them. Current listings, why you should work with that, and different types of two open job offers at this stage. And we can press learn more and we see the description about this position. Responsibilities, okay, just a general description, nothing special, but I will explain just in a while why this is important for us. Ready to apply, and you can easily apply. Okay, as you may see, you apply from your mail, right? This is like the link to your mail from which you can send your application, your CV to the company, and at this stage you will forward your information to the company, right? Why is it important? So you need to understand that, for example, from some laws, some privacy laws of the world, employment information such as like your work history, information contained in your CV, it's also a part of personal data. For example, if we speak about Californian privacy law, employment data, they will be considered personal data as well. So when we understand from this website that the company collects some data from potential employees, it means that they also have a database of different CVs, of different employment history of different persons, and they actively do this. So in this perspective, we will also need to check this information in the privacy policy to ensure that they mention this purpose as well. And that's what we'll do right now. So let's switch back to the first page, and I will leave this one open to remember about third-party links. Here, from this point, I can refer to privacy policy. Here we also leave this form open because it's about downloading the book. Here's about Yeah, this is about the application for job applications and about using employment data. And this is the regular contact form. Right. Okay. So now the time to explore privacy policy, and let's also move step by step. So privacy policy, and the first thing that I see here is the introduction. It's a usual practice, introduction about the privacy policy, what does it serve, what is the purpose of this policy, and just acknowledgement that users which read this policy that they are aware about the practices and they agree to them. The information which I do not see at this stage is I cannot say for sure from which state, from which United States the company is from, or from which country. So actually the place of the company's registration. Not to forget about this later, I want to check this information right now. So let's move quickly at the last part of this privacy policy to check whether we have this information in some other section. Dispute resolution, a note to users outside of the United States. Okay, here you can see the first mentioning that the company is actually based in the United States of America. So we understand that the company is registered in one of the United States, right? So, but we cannot say clear now at which state. So let's check it in other sections. Changes to privacy policy and contact information. To contact the company, we have only one email address. The company claims that you also can contact them by telephone or mail, but the interesting thing here, guys, that we do not see any mail address or a telephone number. So it's really ridiculous how users can contact them without having this information. Because just to check, okay? I also do not see any information about mail address or phone number here. Okay, so guys, we will not know today from which United States state the company is from, but we know for sure that the company is based in the US. It means that, for example, European privacy legislation such as GDPR might apply for the company, but will not be for 100% applicable, because we cannot check this information at this stage. We cannot say whether this company is, whether actually the product of this company available from users from the European Union. So we will need additional information from the company to clarify this, and that's why I cannot mention this and I cannot check this, right? So let's switch to the first part of the privacy policy again, because we'll need to explore some important sections, some important blocks. So the first thing that I would suggest to correct the company is for sure to clearly underline from which state the company is from, and if you claim that you have the option to contact you by mail, for sure you will also need to add your address, your mail address. Sometimes physical and official place of registration differ, but it's not a problem. You just need to mention the address by which your customers, your website visitors can reach you out, right? Let's move forward. Information from you. Usually that section contains information about the scope of personal data the company collects from users, from their website visitors. And we will also, right now, I will read it quickly to understand whether all pieces of information is mentioned here. And if not, we'll also figure it out. Okay, certain visitors. The amount of tab differs. So you see that the company claims that the amount of personal data may depend, and then they differ. And for example, if you ask visitors for sign up to provide an email address. This is interesting because I haven't found any information about the possibility of users to sign up through this website and to create an account. It doesn't seem that this option was present. Maybe it was earlier, but right now I don't see this. Okay, who's engaged in transactions? Financial. So you may see the company mentioned also financial information as part of personal data that they might collect. I suppose it's true because the company offers different types of services and they sell some kind of products, yeah, the development of apps, and that's why for sure they will collect transaction information, financial information as well from their clients, because the clients pay for their services and it's like a natural practice. If you exchange any message through our site, we may store this as well. So this is the information which we explored earlier today, and I made accent on this and I will show you right now. You see this messages, this form where users might share some types of personal data. That's why it is important to know this as well. And we see this information right here. This is good. If you provide us feedback or contact us via email, we also collect your name and email addresses and other content. Yeah, exactly. This is the types of information about which we talked in contact forms. And you may see that the company collects all these types of information, such as, okay, your name. I would also add here that the company also accept names, surnames or last names, and the company also collects phone numbers, and we saw that this information right here, it's obligatory, so users cannot omit this. But at the same time, I do not see mentioning the contact numbers within this scope of information. And yeah, we even see the information that the company also collects resume or CV, yeah. So it means that the company actively does this, and they mention this practice as well. This is good. We may receive some information about users actually from third parties. If somebody follows or right, so it sets us through a referral link from a third party. Okay, good. Also a regular practice when company not only collects information from their website or from their mobile apps directly, but they also do this through different third-party resources, sometimes from social media platforms. By the way, let's check it also. Yeah, you can also see that a lot of links to the social media resources of the company. Let's check just one of them. Yeah, I see. You can see there LinkedIn profile, and we also see Facebook profile. It means that the company can also use the social media platforms as one of the resources of their data collection as well. And if your users, your website users will contact the company through any of these platforms, they can also collect some scope of personal data as well. And for sure, they will use them in their database, and this type of personal information or personal data, they also refers to these practices. Okay, so you see right here, we may collect information that is necessary for our legitimate interest. It will be disclosed to you at the time of collection. Okay, so to summarize the first section, what I can say from this point is that some types of personal information that the company collects are omitted, and as we understood, these are contact number and surnames, right? Because we see here email, we see here name right here, email addresses, but we don't see here contact number or phone number. We don't see mentioning about surname, and so that's all, I guess. Right, here's on the first name and email, yeah, here, and right, and also, as I've already mentioned, that I would also suggest adding information that the company might collect information from social media platforms as well. So not only from referral links from a third party. Let's explore the second section. And the second section is about automatically collected data. Right, I can see it from here. Usually such kind of sections, they are called automatically collected data because, as you might see even here, the first sentence, the company describes that this information, it is collected automatically from the website, so it does mean that users do not need to give their consent or they do not provide it, right, actively, because this information is collected without their any any specific or active actions from users. And usually such kind of data or such kind of information, they served for analytics purpose, for some technical purposes, for statistic purposes sometimes. So all this information data, they are needed to provide some background for the company to make their products better, to improve their products, or just make some analysis to understand their audience better, to improve their product as a result, right? And for sure, to this type of information, first of all, we refer to cookies and other tracking technologies. And the way I usually check it is right here. You can see the option cookies and site data. I have all third-party cookies blocked by default, but right now I will do it only for you and unblock this. And let's see what we have. Remember guys, we earlier explored that the company had some embedded YouTube links, and right here you can see that the company places third-party cookies from YouTube, and this is just because of YouTube links, YouTube videos. We also see some Google third-party cookies. Usually Google's, if you see Google, we understand that the company might use Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager, for example. And we also see HubSpot. This is also because of customer support services, I suppose, really usual and regular third-party cookies. I see them most of the time. So this is just to understand that the company places third-party cookies, and this section refers and dedicated to explanation about this practice of the company. What is important about cookies is that you need to describe the option to opt out of unnecessary cookies for your users. So they can do it from their browsing, or sometimes if you need to do this, you are also obliged to replace additional cookie consent banner. But if, as we understand, the company is based in the United States, and I cannot say for sure right now that whether or not the company needs to comply with the GDPR, but if they would need to, they would also need to place a cookie consent banner before user enters their website. But now I will not analyze this moment because I cannot provide an accurate assessment without additional information. I also see the information mentioning that the company do not respond to do not track signals. From this information, I can say that the company tries to comply at least with the Californian Online Privacy Act. This is the first act that was effective in California in 2000s, I guess, or 2004. I don't remember for sure, but it means that the company collects some data from California citizens for California residents, and they also comply with this act as well. At least they claim so. But we need to make a mark for us that if a company does this and does collect the data from California residents, they might need to check their compliance with other acts as well. But we'll talk later about this. Here you can see use of Google Analytics, as I also told you earlier today. So it's actually the cookies that we see on this website, they are placed by Google Analytics for sure. Okay, so yeah, I understand. Actually, this section is pretty clear, and the only information that I haven't seen is about yeah, no, I see it right here. Yeah, we may use both session cookies and processing cookies. I can also only see the information that if users disable them, some types of cookies, that the website may not work properly, but it doesn't state about the way of disabling or the way of choosing or removing some types of cookies. But this is important moment that needs to be stated clearly as well. You need to clarify how your users can do this. Let's explore the next section. The next section is dedicated to the use of information, or in other words, as we usually consider this, it's about purposes of use. So while exploring the website, we figure out different scope of personal data which the company collects, and now we need to categorize this data to the purposes of use. And all these purposes need to correlate with your actual practices. So it's forbidden to state any unreasonable or any purposes that you might want to use in the future. It's not good practice. You need to clearly state only the scope of purpose for which your company performs. So let's check. So the first purpose we see here is to facilitate the creation of the account. And again, I see information about the account which users can create, but I haven't found this information on the website. Maybe I have omitted something, or maybe this website was updated and this information is not, this option is not available anymore. I'm not sure, but let's omit this option at this stage. Identify you as user. Yeah, what does it mean is that the company uses, you see, reCaptcha. So they protect their website from by third-party service provider Google, and why they embedded this option. So this is the purpose. What does it serve? Provide improved administration of the websites. Okay, and improve the quality. All these purposes actually improve the quality of the experience or provide improve the quality of experience usually refers to automatically collected personal data. That's what I was talking about, like cookies or Google Analytics. See, by analyzing the data from the services, the company usually, it serves like the basis for the company to improve some kind of product or make their services better. Send administrative email notifications. It means that if your company provides some types of services and, for example, they need to inform you about the updates of products or sometimes of your order, and they send you different types of administrative emails related to such product or their order that you made. Respond to your inquiries. This is about employment opportunities. Okay, so yeah, the company mentioned this. Send promotional communications. So this refers to marketing newsletter and marketing email. Send upgrades and special offers for marketing purposes again. So all two these purposes refer to marketing purposes. Should you opt in, receive such communications? Okay. Make telephone calls to you from time to time as part of secondary fraud protection or solicit feedback compliance. Yeah, you see that the company mentioned that sometimes they might even make phone calls to users, and at the same time they haven't stated that they collect phone numbers. So they just, maybe it was not for a purpose, maybe they just omitted this, but it's clearly that they need to add this information as well. Comply with applicable law, legal requirements, and other legitimate purposes permitted by applicable law. Okay, all in all, the company described the whole scope of the purposes. One issue or one purpose that I would suggest adding, maybe it would be the downloading free book, because I cannot refer, for example, this purpose like to the provision of the services, because maybe your website users that enter your website for the first time, they will not purchase any products, or they will not order any products from you, but they just want to download your free book, right? And they will share some types of personal data, and for this purpose, it's like the purpose for collecting these types of information is just shared in the book with your users. So I would also add this purpose as well. All right, this was mentioned, and this was also mentioned. Okay, good. Here the mention about aggregate data records by excluding personal data. This is good practice that company actually performs. They removes personal information from some records, from some types of data that collect or that contain personal data, and they make this information aggregate. And in this case, this information would not be regarded personal, and it means that this block of information is exempt from personal data protection. This is good. And the company also mentioned the purpose of the use of this data to analyze requests, so they do not violate anything by doing this. About feedback. Okay, so yeah, great. Information that containing the communication about feedbacks. Yeah, that's what we saw before. If it's about information. Okay, and statistic about the behavior. Yeah, this is the description about the purpose for use of, for example, automatically collected data. One company collects data from Google Analytics, for example, and they collect this information automatically. They use usually this for statistics or for analyzing of visitor behaviors to improve their performance of their website. So this is also general practice. Okay, here everything is clear. So the next section, sharing your information or disclosure of personal information. Usually, all companies and all websites, they usually have some categories of third parties or of different resources with whom they might share personal information of their users or their website visitors. And now we will try to figure out which data and with whom the company shares this information. So first category, service providers that perform services for inspiring apps. And here we see the description of these purposes. This is really good practice. You need to clearly state for which exactly types of services do you explore or which kind of service providers you engage in your service provision. So here we see hosting services, marketing assistance, analyzing user data, processing payment, and legitimate purposes permitted by applicable law. So hosting service, this is usually like cloud hosting providers. Marketing assistance, sometimes we can speak about different service providers who, for which companies engage for delivering emails, marketing emails. Analyzing user data, usually this is Google Analytics, and in this case we saw already Google Analytics in this website. Processing payment card information, it can be a variety of other different possible payment processors such like Stripe, PayPal. I do not know exactly which payment processor the company engages, but it's just for your understanding and for other legitimate purposes. Affiliate, it's the second category of parties with whom the company shares information or might share. This is also regular practice because if company has a parent company or subsidiaries, they exchange some types of personal information because usually different scope of functions, different scope of responsibilities are performed by different entities. So this is pretty regular practice. Another ways of sharing information of users is to comply with relevant laws or to respond to some court orders and to protect and defend the rights of the company or its users. Also pretty general information and also really usual from sharing. Yeah. You may see there is a short description of the location of the service providers, which might be located outside of the home country of their users or website visitors. Usually such kind of information is provided when company collects information from users globally, so they do not collect information only from US residents, for example, and they need to inform users about the possibility of transferring their data to countries outside their home country. And this would be really important and crucial in the light of GDPR. So at this stage, I also cannot assess for sure, cannot say for 100% the company collects some data from the European residents, but we'll need, maybe from the next sections, we will understand this more clear. Let's move forward. Third parties. Okay, let me try to understand about what type of information it is about. Yeah, right. Actually, this information that the company might have some data from external resources. So they may receive information from marketing companies or from some advertising partners. I suppose that company might also share some data with these marketing partners, but I cannot see it from now, but we'll also try to understand it from the next section. At the same time, we also see mentioning that the company places some third-party links on the website, the one that we saw earlier today. I will show you again to remind us about the links, for example, to platforms for downloading this app. And as far as I understand, we can also see them. Give me a second. I will show you. Yeah, for example, these links, yeah, third-party links to social media platforms, they will also refer to external resources, and the company disclaims its liability for any practices of such third-party resources, which is absolutely normal. reCaptcha. They use reCaptcha. Okay, so the company explained the use of reCaptcha. Usually it's not made separately. It's contained within the part of description of the purposes of use, but it's not a problem. Okay, the company made it clear that they do this. No problem at all. Okay, and another block of information dedicated to retention of information. And this section refers to the period of how long company collects some personal data, how long they store this data, and they explain all other retention practices and removing this data from their databases if they do so, if they perform that, or if, for example, they have some special rules for different types of categories of personal information. But here we see just general information without any specific rules, just normal, for as long as your account is active or is needed to provide you with services. So as far as I understand, if your user stops being your active client, the company might remove all their data from the database and stop using this data for any other purposes. Next, choices regarding commercial messages. And here we see information about marketing emails and about stopping use email addresses from users for marketing purposes. If we see this block here, it again means that the company might be subject of California law, and they for sure collect some data from California residents as well. That's why they are obliged to contain this privacy right of users within their privacy policy, and they need to ensure that it is guaranteed by them and they actually perform this. So if your users, for example, opted in your marketing email newsletter, but then just in some time they decided to stop doing this, you need to ensure that they can do it without any restrictions, and they can do it for sure in the established timeline, right? So you can do this. The company explained that they can do this by following the unsubscribe link within the email, or they can contact the company. Okay, opt out, right. Next section, access, updates, changes, and deletion of information. Usually this section is called scope of user data or just privacy rights of users. But here, the company just described all types of privacy rights that their users have. Okay, so we may see that the company guaranteed that all users, all website visitors have the right to access, to update, change their information by sending an email address to the email address set below. So, okay, so if you want to get to understand which scope of data, for example, the company collects about you, you can email them at this email address that you saw below. Or if you want to update some type of information, for example, you have outdated email, or for example, you change your phone number and you need to update it as well. Or, for example, you change your name, maybe, or surname, so it doesn't matter which type of data you want to update. You can do this by contacting the company. And this is like the only option how you can do this. Yeah, the company may verify your identity before actually approving this request, but this is absolutely normal practice because the company also needs to ensure that this is the person relates to the one that they have within their database. Another interesting privacy right which is contained separately is revocation of consent. If company collects some pieces of data based on your consent, usually I would say that, for example, in this perspective of this website, we saw some blocks of information dedicated to marketing newsletter. I will show you one more time to remind you about this. For example, here you see newsletter email. It means that if you want to subscribe to the newsletter of the company, you need to fill in your email address right here. And by doing this, like, you agree to be an active subscriber. That's why it's important for a company to ensure that they have the option to be removed from this subscription, from this marketing newsletter. And this is what they tell here, revocation of consent. This right is also guaranteed by the GDPR, and I see a lot of moments which say me about the possible application of the GDPR to the company, because I can see like some blocks of information embedded within the privacy policy, but again, they are not absolutely accurate or they are not full. That's why it's difficult to make like accurate and absolutely right decision right at this stage. Security of your information. This is another block that I see in the privacy policy, and usually this block dedicated to different security practices of the company, which it performs in relation to the protection of personal information about their users from unauthorized disclosure, unauthorized use, so the data wouldn't be misused for any illegal purposes. And a really good practice is to provide a full list, or at least some kind of categories of the scope of these measures which your company takes, because usually there is three main groups of all technological measures, right? This is the administrative measures, organizational, and technology measures. And just for example, when we speak about encryption of data or anonymization of data, we can refer these measures also to security practices of the company. That's why it is so important to inform your users about the measures that you take, to make it more clear for them, and also for sure it empowers makes them more trust your company and to be when you're more transparent with them. That's why I would also describe this in more detail. I would extend this section to make it clear as well. Another section is about dispute resolution. Usually such sections contained within terms of use or terms of services, but interesting note is that within this website I haven't found any terms of use as far as I understood. Yeah, I only see one link. It's only for a privacy policy, so no information about the terms of use. So that's why the company just puts the information about dispute resolution in this section. And we may see that they propose you to contact them by email, right? And they want to guarantee first investigation, so they want you to reach them by email to try to resolve this dispute. And if not, so they will settle this dispute under the rules of American arbitration. Okay, but again, see, we don't see information about jurisdiction. We still do not understand from which jurisdiction the company is. I mean, from which state. A note to users outside of the United States. And notice to residents of the European Economic Area. It means that the company still collects data from European residents. It means that they are subject of GDPR. Okay, let's check this information, because as I see right now, the information is not complete. I mean, it doesn't contain all necessary blocks of information about residents of European Economic Area and about the application of GDPR. But let me check this. Yeah, this information that they hosted. Okay, it was what we saw earlier today. And And again, information about the possibility of transfer the company outside of the United States of America. And now we understand why it is important, because the company needs to inform users about the transfer practices, especially if we talk about the GDPR rules and GDPR requirements. That's why the company informs users from European Economic Area about the transfer of information outside its territory. And notice to residents of European Economic Area. Actually, usually if companies collect data from EE area, right, they need to comply with the GDPR rules, and they are really strict. So not all types of blocks that we explored earlier today, not all of them were highlighted in the light of GDPR. So we will also understand right now whether this information is contained within this section. So see here, we see the description of the rights. And there are more rights than there were earlier today, because under the GDPR you have a pretty extensive scope of rights, like rights to justification, to erasure, restriction of processing, right? Okay, I see this. The scope of data that I see here, it's just the remaining part of the rights that users from the European Economic Area have, because the first part of rights that we saw was right here: access, updates, changes, and deletions. So how we can interpret this, it's actually not the best practice, but as I understand, the point right here is that you need to interpret section in combination with the previous one. So except for the rights that we saw above right here, access, updates, changes, and deletion, we also add the information about European Economic Area residents. But I would suggest just adding all types of scope of privacy rights in the sections without this really difficult logic. Again, yeah, when your company process your data based on your consent, you have the right to withdraw this. That's also the right guaranteed by the GDPR. And here's the example about which I talked earlier today, marketing messages, right? Another right for EU residents about the possibility to lodge a complaint with the respective supervisor authority. Really, another good practice is to add the links to the websites or to the contact information of this supervisory authority, because if we speak about European Economic Area, we include here EU, United Kingdom, Switzerland, and all of them have different authorities to which users can refer. The provision of personal information by you will be contractual, marketing, or analytical purposes. Okay, and we may withhold information. Okay, so guys, the information that I haven't seen here is the description of the legal basis of processing of personal data of users, because there are 7 or 8 as far as I remember legal basis, but the most regular and the most used by most companies and most websites are only 4, and these are using for information for contractual purposes, like provision of services or providing some product for users. This one also under consent, user information under consent of users, like the one that was mentioned above, when users consent into your marketing newsletter, right? And they provide their consent to do so. There is also another legal basis is for legitimate purpose. By the way, several times we also saw this information in this privacy policy, but we didn't have the list of description, of these purposes. So we understand that the company rely on legitimate purpose, but we do not understand in which cases. And also another frequently used purpose is for other legal requirements, when the company needs to comply with some kind of legal requirements. For example, if the company needs to respond to tax authorities or to a court, or to any other enforcement law bodies, they for sure will need to share some types of personal data, and they will do it without any having consent from their users. So this type of information is omitted, but it's required by GDPR. As far as I understood that the company also placed the section about international data transfer above this. So as we saw here, where it was, I remember that we saw this information, but I tried to find out it here. Yeah, this is right here, that information may be transferred, but at the same time, you should remember that you cannot just inform your users that you are going to transfer data outside the country of their residence. You need also to ensure, especially in the light of GDPR, that their data will be safely transferred. And to do this, European Commission, it has some special rules. So you can, for example, transfer such data only to the countries which have adequate level of protection of personal data, or, for example, to countries who rely on special mechanisms. Also, like the ones that were adopted by European Commission and were approved by European Commission. We will not stop at this point right now because it's a one really big and extensive topic, but this information is also omitted about the practices that the company rely on when they transfer information outside European Economic Area, and we see that two important points were omitted. I cannot assess for now the information about the necessity to appoint, for example, European representative in the EU, because I cannot know for sure how large the amount of data which the company collects from the European residents, and to know this, I need to get more information from the company. That's why I will also omit this information at this stage. Let's move to the next section, and here we see changes to the privacy policy. This is the regular, normal, absolutely normal section which all privacy policies contain, and it's a really important one because it describes how company makes any changes to its privacy policy, how it publish, how they notify their users about these changes, because it's really important to understand when it changes something, especially when it refers to changing some privacy practices or the scope of data they collect or the purposes for which you do this. And this is the company described this in this section. So you can see that the company will notify their users, inserted calendar dates following the posting of new privacy policy, and these changes will be effective immediately for new users. Okay. In the event of change, right. This really interesting in the light of the absence of any data of this privacy policy. I will move quickly to the first section of the privacy policy, and I cannot see any information about the effective date of this privacy policy or about the last change of this policy. Usually when the company makes some updates, or when it first publishes its policy, it places the information about the effective date, the date when the privacy policy starts to be active, starts to be legal, valid. But there is no information about this. And let's check for, again, in the footer, but I'm not sure. Yeah, no information. And as far as I understand and remember, the company collects data from Californian users, and one of the requirements of the first Californian law, California Online Privacy Act, is publication of the date of the company privacy policy effective date, and if your company makes subsequent changes, it will need to also make the following updates in the privacy policy with mentioning the last date of updates. So this information is also omitted, and it's another privacy failure. Children privacy. Also really normal and absolutely justified provision about the restriction, about age restriction of users. So we see that the company collects information only from adults, so no children information. This is good. It means that, for example, federal legislation which protects children privacy and children personal data, it will not apply in this case. And contact information. this actually the information that we have already explored, and this really another important section which every privacy policy shall contain. It usually provides your users with a variety of contact tools by which they can contact you and by which they can send some questions, inquiries, and for sure by which they can realize their privacy rights. So this is the end of the privacy policy. It means that we have explored on all moments and we understood all privacy mistakes and all privacy points which I would suggest to improve. I believe that it was really useful for you guys today, and the point that I want to make today and to wrap it up everything today that I've spoke earlier is that you need to carefully analyze, first of all, the scope of privacy laws that apply to your business, to understand which sections of privacy policy you need to have or which privacy practices you need to implement, and for sure to be aware of this is really important. And as we understood today that the company has some omissions, and for sure some of them are not critical, but the most critical that we've explored today I highlighted. For example, if we speak about GDPR, these omissions are really critical because the company might possess some hefty fines in the future. But again, some moments it's not possible to assess for 100% at this stage because additional information is required. And for sure, if you want to give more information and to understand the full picture of the privacy practices that your company needs to comply with, you'll also need to make a more complete privacy audit of your website or another web resources. So guys, that is all for today. Thanks for watching this video today. I believe that it was really helpful for you. So make sure to like this video and please thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel. If you want to see your website in this website review next, please share the links to your website in the comment below, and your website or your mobile app maybe will be the next one. Thanks again for staying with me today, and see you in the next video. Bye!